Okay, so this is going to be the first in a series. Hopefully, it's a long series. I don't know. I might get bored, but so the series is called Pure Yomi, and the reason I'm doing that is because I read a book a long time ago called Pure Baseball when I was really into baseball, and I loved the book. It's about breaking down each individual moment in the game and kind of explaining what the thought process was behind um, from both the pitchers and the batters' perspective. And so I think baseball kind of shares a lot in common with Yomi, um, but there's no reaction time with Yomi, so that's nice. And I can just go ahead and go through each single move and talk about why I did what I did, and hopefully give you some insight into how I play and to how the game should be played if I play it right, which is not guaranteed. But I thought this was going to be a good place to start because this guy Oka, I had never played him before and never seen him around actually. And throughout the course, I played 7 games against him. And first two are quick match games. Um, and throughout the course of playing against him, I kind of realized that this guy was good. And not only was he good, I think his play is pretty indistinguishable from a top player's play. And so I suspect that he's an alt account, but he could be. He is claimed to be a Japanese player, which is why you never see him in any tournaments or anything, um, which I'm kind of skeptical of. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting chance to explain why I think this guy is a top player, and as opposed to a new player, and kind of explain my rationale behind that, which might help you kind of get my perspective on what makes good plays and what makes bad plays. Okay, so we started off with DeGray versus Setsky. I'm DeGray, and this is not a good matchup for DeGray. I think it's probably I think most people think it's slight Setsky advantage. I might even put it at strong Setsky advantage. I mean, I really like this matchup as Setsuki, and I've had a lot of success with it. The main reason for that is because Setsuki just outspeeds you really hard, and DeGray's innate just does nothing against Setsuki. He can still put together some pretty good damage, but the reason that DeGray is such a powerful, formidable character is he gets a lot of mileage, I think, off those moral high ground combos. Okay, so starting off, you're just in a pretty vulnerable position against Setsuki. I think the standard play for Setsuki here is to just throw turn one because um, everyone's scared of attacking into DeGray's ace dodge because that's how DeGray does massive damage. And generally, DeGray is not going to be throwing out a ton of slow speed attacks against Setsuki. And so, you know, all these things kind of come together to make throwing against DeGray a really good turn one play. And I've noticed this so many times against a lot of new players, and at this point, I am just suspecting that Oka is just a new player. I've noticed that Setsukis are very throw happy um, early game, and I'm looking at my hand and I see that I have a possible straight. So I decide to play the standard counter to the standard turn one Setsuki. It's not very safe, but if it works, then I'll do some pretty good damage and I'll get an ace. So that's what I did. I decided to go for the 5 attack, and it worked, which is a really good feeling, by the way. It's good to duff people. Feels good. He face downs, which is a common. I mean, as Setsuki, you just always want to face down everything, basically, because you want to continually work towards dumping your hand to draw new cards. So he face downs. I'm not scared of the face down at all, and I go into 5, 6, 7. I suspect that some people might think that's not the best play, and that maybe I should go 5-6 nothing, or maybe 5-6 king, because sevens are valuable as to gray, but really sevens are not super valuable against Setsuki, because now A, she has the 10 counter to just say, hey, you can't spin it, and B, um, well, that's the main thing. It's the 10 counter. I think you generally want to save sevens against Setsuki for when she's at low hand, because if she does counter it, okay, she does no damage. And just in general, it's better to try to throw Setsuki when she has a low hand. Okay, so I get an ace, and I happen to draw an ace off hitting with the 5, which is lucky. So I'm feeling good now, after having done 18 damage to a low life character. But now, I'm in a spot where I haven't seen a queen from Setsuki, so I don't really want a king. You really don't want to you don't want to waste your super fast attacks against Setsuki unless you've seen her play some queens. And just because she throws turn 1 doesn't mean that, it means that she could definitely follow it up with a queen attack. Very possible. So I don't really remember what I did here. I think that I decided to go defensive. I think it's a good idea. Once you've shown that you're willing to press big buttons like a 5, also show that, okay, I'm also willing to play this. I'm also willing to play this standard and defensive, because you want to be defensive against Setsuki. She can do, just in general, all characters want to be slightly defensive against Setsuki's, because she can convert her fast attacks into massive damage and dump her hands, and that's how she wins a lot of matchups. So I think I decided just 3 dodge here, because I have a great dodge follow-up. I have Final Arbiter, and I don't really want to use it as a combat reveal, again, because that queen is still on the table. So I think I just decided to 3 dodge here. Throwing is very unsafe. So, and again, I don't want a king. So let's see. No, I decide to go for a 7 throw. So maybe I should have 3 dodged, actually. But I think I was kind of feeling my oats here and thinking, all right, if he's just a brain-dead Setsuki player, he's just going to keep pressing throw, because, I mean, it's just what you do against a gray, and it generally works. So I thought, well, I'm just gonna catch his slower throw, 9 throw, and if he does counter it, okay, he's left with not much of a hand. So I think that was my thought process, but 3 dodge would have been better, turns out. And I face down because why not? What good is a 10 throw gonna do me in this matchup? No good. That's the answer. So he dumps his hand, does a lot of damage, and has shown me that he's willing to not just press throw all day, because he did have a 9 throw, and that was a good option. That was a good option, especially because he could have followed up with a king and dumped his hand anyway. If I'm not miscounting. Let's see, what did he have? Yeah. So he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand. Yeah, he could have, and 2 jacks. He definitely could have thrown and got out of that hand. So. Okay, so he's in Speed of Fox, never fun, and I just drew a 3rd ace. That's kind of fun. But what do I do here? This is such an awesome opportunity for Setsuki to throw, and I capitalize off throws, off Speed of the Fox a lot, but because it's so great for Setsuki, and what's the reason it's so great? Because the opponent really wants to be defensive here, because if he attacks into Setsuki's dodge, she gets to empty her whole hand and do significant damage. and my attacks are also outsped by a lot of her attacks, so it's unsafe, and so attack is unsafe in two different ways. Um, so okay, well, if I throw, she just drew five. She just drew five new cards, so she's probably going to draw a throw that outspeeds my throw. And if she attacks, she gets to dump her hand that way. Um, Generally, it's just really easy to be defensive against Setsuki in this situation because, as always, again, Setsuki can convert attacks into lots of damage, and B, attacks really not a good option here either. So it's easy to be defensive. That's why Setsuki gets lots of mileage off her throw. So I don't really remember what I did here. That's always in my head um, to counter the speed of the fox throws. But we've only had two combats. This player has not shown me that he is good. He's won one combat. I have know nothing about this player. Um, so I think this is the turn that I three dodged. Because I do remember three dodging. And why don't I ace dodge? Well, I could have ace dodged. I don't really remember. But why don't I ace dodge instead of three dodge? Well, because this is a. Well, all right. Let's just see what I did first, and then I'll talk about it. I did ace dodge. Okay. And I got thrown. So again, maybe the three. I keep saying I'm going to three dodge, and I keep doing the wrong thing here. But I mean, if I had landed that ace dodge, if he had attacked into me, I could have done 28 damage, which is a big deal against Setsuki. The reason I was talking about three dodging here instead of ace dodging is because throw is such an obvious face-up move in this situation. So three dodge is kind of a hedge. If I three dodge and I get thrown, well, okay, that's not good. But if I ace dodge and I get thrown, well, I just lost an opportunity to ace dodge into massive damage. So the three dodge was kind of a hedge, but I was going to dodge no matter what, and I got thrown, and that's okay. It's just not a great matchup. And then I was surprised that he didn't follow it up with anything else. Generally, that tells you that Setsuki's hand is not very good. Alright, I think I was very tempted to just... Well, no. I don't think I was tempted to bunk here, but... Because, okay, I'm knocked down. I might have been tempted to bunk, just because when Setsuki throws into nothing, like I said, it means her hand is pretty bad, generally. How is Setsuki's hand bad? Well, generally, Setsuki's hand is bad when she's stuffed with throws. She can't empty her hand into a new speed of the fox turn, because it's just cluttered up with all these throws. And you generally, as Setsuki, an ideal amount of throws is like one or two in your hand, because you want to have options. You want to be, you want to balance your options, but you don't want to. You want to empty if you land an attack, or if you land a throw. And a lot of throws is just not going to allow you to do that. But I remember this turn. What I did was block, and I was scared to block because I think that a lot of times it's easy to go for a mix-up normal with a 2 if you're Setsuki, because your 2 attack is going to beat a lot of DeGray's attacks. It's going to beat all of his attacks except for King and Ace. So it's just a pretty safe mix-up normal, and I don't like the fact that I have an odd block because of that. But I have not seen a queen yet from Setsuki, and that's another way her hand can get cluttered up, is she can have awkward queen, throw, something like that. So I haven't seen a queen from her. I do this a lot. I think it's kind of face up to queen attack into a dodge, into a knockdown, because it's just, if your opponent's knocked down and you have fast attacks to try to mix him up, it's tempting. So I think a lot of times the opponent will go for his own reversal to try to prevent the mix-up from happening. So I think a queen as Setsuki when your opponent's knocked down, it's kind of a tricky play, but not really. It's kind of face up. So, and when I say face up, I just mean it's the obvious play. So I think in this case, I kind of hemmed and hawed, and I didn't know what to do. I think I was beginning to respect his play because he had just won 2 combats in a row, and I thought did the obvious thing, the smart thing on a Speed of Fox, which is throw me. So beginning to respect his play, so I'm like, well, he might do something I do. So I just blocked, anticipating the queen, and it was a queen. And it's always good to block a Setsuki queen. Just get one of them out of there. Okay, now what? Now we're back in neutral, but Setsuki has 6 cards in hand, and that makes her scary. I think what I decided to do here was just king, because it's not super likely that she draws 2 queens off Speed of the Fox. I mean, it's I think king is a risk here, because queen is kind of a standard play if you have 2 queens of Setsuki, and it's very possible she has 2 queens. But king is my safest play here, and I generally like to do safe plays against especially against a known player that an unknown player that I don't really know anything about. That was redundant, but so I think I end up kinging here. There's not really a good reason to do much of anything else. If the Setsuki player had shown a tendency to dodge a lot, then king maybe not so good. Maybe then I take advantage of my 7 and try to catch a dodge, or maybe catch a slower throw. Hope he doesn't have a counter. But I haven't seen that yet. We're only 3 combats in, so I think I just king. Let's see what happens. Yep. And I caught the throw. And I caught a 9 throw, which is notable, I think. Because okay, and I'm going to actually look and see what... I'm going to give you a little... This is a spoiler, but I remember this interaction. I remember kinging the 9 throw and thinking that he was low on fast throws, and I think the next turn he 7 throws me. So I'm going to look at his hand and see whether or not that was that evaluation trap or if he just drew the 7. Okay, it was a valuation trap. So I think after the next hand is when I start to really respect this guy's play. Because valuation traps are kind of a higher level Yomi play. I mean, it means you're thinking about the game in a way that's a lot of new players don't think about it. You know, you're trying to fake out your opponent and show that deceiving them, essentially, thinking that making them think that you have a low speed throw and then going for a faster speed throw. Basically, making them complacent, making them want to just be defensive. Now, it's very possible that this player could have wanted, he could have been wanting to save his 7 for its ability. That's very possible, and so, but now he doesn't have any throws in hand. Let's see, yeah, he doesn't have any other throws in hand, and he really wants to throw, so he goes for a 7. That's possible. It could have just been that, and that's not necessarily a valuation trap, but I don't know. I'm not a mind reader, which would be a really useful skill to have in Yomi, but unfortunately, I don't have it. So I don't remember what I did here. I remember I got thrown. So I think I went back to being on the defensive. The 9 throw got me. I thought, well, is he really going to go for another 9 throw or a 10 throw? You need 10s in this matchup to counter the 7s. So is he really going to go for that? I thought, probably not. Let's just be safe. Let's dodge. And I think I don't remember if I ace dodge or if I just finally do what I said I was going to do in 3 dodge. I think I do 3 dodge. Let's see what happens. There's the 3 dodge, and it it would have worked the other times, or at least it would have worked or have been better than the ace dodge, but not that time. So I get thrown, and now I'm thinking, well, okay, this guy might know what he's doing, and this especially made me think he knew what he was doing, because he did something that not a lot of new players do at Setsuki, which is he powered up for nothing so that he could get into Speed of the Fox. I mean, that's just not something a lot of new players realize is even possible. But I personally get a lot of mileage out of it. Okay, so now this is kind of scary. Now I'm dealing with somebody who knows what he's doing. I have a lot more respect for his play at this point. So I'm thinking to myself, probably, is he going to just keep going for throw, or is he going to mix up his play, which is something that smart players do, and is he going to attack? It's always scary to attack in a Degree, especially with this many cards in hand, because there's only one ace in discard. Okay? There's only one ace in discard. There's only one Q in Setsuki's discard. So basically, Setsuki right now has all the options available to her. As a smart player, she could attack, she could throw, she could dodge. All of those are good. So it's just kind of an awkward position to be in as Degree. Nothing that I can do feels good in this situation. You just have to make a read and hope that your opponent doesn't win combat, essentially. I think I end up being... Honestly, I don't really remember what I do in this situation. I think I dodge again. I think I dodge with my 2, trying to go into either Queen or Final Arbiter. Because I don't know. I think that this player has not necessarily shown that he's going to just throw, which is a lot of, like I said, I notice a lot of newer characters doing that. He might mix up his range here, or if he dodges, that's okay too. I might have a king, so if I went with dodge because it beats him mixing up his play and playing an attack. It also just ties with him dodging, and any other option is not fantastic. So let's see what I did. No, I went for the 7 throw. Okay, I don't really like that 7 throw, honestly, because, on my part, because, again, I think that you should save 7 throws for situations where, A, they're not likely to counter you, so when they have a low hand, and no 10s in discard, by the way, and yeah, it's just, I don't like that. I would have gotten thrown if I had dodged anyway, but I already have 1 7 in I have 2 7s in discard, excuse me. So I really don't like that 7 throw. I think that was a misplay on my part. Better to save it for a better situation. But I got thrown. I would have gotten thrown anyway if I had 2 dodged. And yeah. I mean, one good thing about this is that it really depletes Setsuki's hand from, I mean, he has no damage now. So that was a good thing with playing my 7. I actually would have lost harder if I had just 2 dodged. I still don't like the play. I mean, actually, not necessarily. What did he have? What was the other card? Yeah, I mean, I actually would have just taken probably either a knockdown in that situation or the same exact health I just took, because, he had a crappy hand there. But, can't really think about that. He just had a bad hand. It happens. Okay, so now I'm in, again, a really bad situation I don't want to be in. And it's the exact same scenario as before, except now Q is even more likely. So Q is more likely And I'd say throw is a little less likely because there are so many throws, so many fast throws in discard, but really it's not that much unlikely. I mean, he's just getting tons of mileage off throws. Why would he stop? I haven't given him a reason to stop really yet. Because I've had one duff attempt in the entire game, and I've played kind of scared the rest of the game. So that's an argument against dodging here, which is what I've been wanting to do for the past forever. But I did just throw, which shows that I'm not playing super scared. You know, I am willing to take some chances. Although, if you play a 7 as Gray, are you really taking chances? Not really. So I don't really remember what I do here. I don't want a king. I could do a crazy duff play, but again, I'm kind of counting on, well, you know, is he gonna start mixing up his play at some point, or is he just gonna keep going ham with the throws? I have respect for him as a player at this point, so I want him. I want to see him mix up his play. So I think I go for a 2 dodge here. Let's see what happens. Yep, 2 dodge. And he dodges. So fine. So I consider that play a success. Ooh, now I have three aces. Okay. I think this is where I go into a duff attempt. Because at this point, again, I don't want a king. I don't really want to attack. Because so many queens are not in discard. Okay. So, and also, I have not played many aces, so he might be thinking, well, not only have I not played many aces, you know, I think normal dodging indicates that I might have indicates that I have a really good dodge follow-up, like aces. Okay, so I might be kind of telling him that I have aces in hand, and I might be running out of normal dodges, so I might ace dodge here. Okay, that's a thing I could do. He hasn't seen me play many ace dodges. I could just finally go for an ace dodge here. And I've just been playing very scared up to this point. I've had one duff. I've had that 7 throw, which is, you know, not very brave. And everything else has been defensive. So I think I decided to just swing for the fences here and say, all right, you're going to throw me. I'm going to queen here. You have to do that as DeGray. You just have to. You have to play really unsafe attacks. And he has been very throw heavy. So I'm going to send a message. Oh, no, that's not what I did. Okay, never mind. I just I did the thing that I should have done. I do remember a duff attempt here. It's going to happen eventually. Spoiler alert. But I should have just gone for the queen, and I just get thrown. Okay. So he just keeps getting so much mileage off those throws. It's good. I mean, it's good Setsuki play. I think it's probably a little bit, maybe a little throw heavier than I would be in this matchup. But if it works, you know, keep on doing it. Is this where I queen? It's pretty brave if this is where I queen, because he's got the speed of the fox up. But, you know, when you're down to 11 life, anything you do will kill you. You're in a terrible spot. Just sometimes it makes sense to just start swinging for the fences. You know, get out your home run swing. Let's see what happens. Did I queen? No. I ace dodged. All right. I was gonna say, Queen was pretty brave in that situation. It would have lost me the game, so it's gonna happen, guys. I promise you, Queen is gonna happen. I think it happens right here. And why? I think I queened here because he just played a 5 dodge. 5 dodge is really not super a super great dodge if you're Setsuki, because 5 dodge is good. 5 is a good damage. You generally want to dodge with lower damage cards, like a 3 or a 4, for instance. So that tells me he's not really anxious to dodge this turn. He's probably a little light on dodges, and why would he dodge anyway? Just do damage if you're Setsuki. It makes sense in Speed of the Fox, and he's done it twice in Speed of the Fox, but I haven't seen him do it in neutral. I've seen him get a lot of success off throws, so I've just shown Ace, which is scary. He doesn't really want to attach into Ace, so this is a good time for the bunker. Do I do it? Oh my God, what is that wrong with me? Well, I would have lost. I would have lost again. All right, so I think I'm kind of I think I'm making more right decisions as a commentator than I actually did during this game, but that one worked out for me when I was actually playing it. I decided to power up for another Ace because just to make Ace dodge scarier. But okay, so Ace dodge is scarier now because I can Ace dodge into, Queen, Ace, Ace. When you're playing against DeGray, it's kind of one of those games, just how many aces does he have? If he has 2 aces in hand, if you think he has 2 aces in hand, he's more likely to throw you or try to throw you because he can convert it into big damage. If he has 3 aces in hand, he's more likely to dodge because he can convert that into huge damage. If you have 2 aces and you're dodging, it's kind of awkward. You can't do Final Arbiter. You can't do the ace-ace attack. It's just kind of, you'd like to use ace-ace either off a throw or just in combat reveal. It's a pretty good combat reveal. So I finally drew a Troublesome Rhetoric. Definitely going to play it. I'm going to tell him not to attack me. Okay, so let's just wait until see if I queen. I'm pretty sure this is the queen, but I'm sick of being wrong. This is like, this is like bad reads on my own actual play. This is kind of embarrassing. Oh, it feels so good, doesn't it? Just a bunk Setsuki. It's great. That wasn't as impressive because because the four was on. But again, I think I remember thinking he was getting tired of dodging. 2 is also not a good dodge, by the way, because 2 actually does work against a lot of DeGray's options. So I queened, and then I followed it up with an Arbiter. I'm not sure if that's a great decision because look, no jokers in discard. Yeah, take 14 damage and a knockdown. It's not that bad. I think that I kind of neutered my hand by playing the Arbiter. I think if I had it to do all over again, I would just pass. I think this was a bad follow-up. Yep. Don't want to be too results-oriented, but and what I mean by that is results-oriented means criticizing your play or focusing your play more on what actually happened than your kind of analysis of what you should have done. There's variance in this game, Just because somebody did something and it worked doesn't mean it was a good play. So you want to focus on actually thinking about what is the good play, what's not, in just based on all these different things that I'm weighing as I talk these things through. All right, so in this situation, I haven't seen many queens, so that's making me nervous. I haven't seen many queens. There's only 17 cards left. He probably has a queen. And I'm trying not to look at his actual hand just to kind of give you more of my perspective, because if I actually know his hand, it kind of skews what I'm saying and what my thoughts are. But My Mac's about to die. Let me go ahead and plug that in. So obviously this is again a scary situation. Um, he's been dodging, so he dodged, then he threw. Okay, so I know he has a king in hand or multiple aces because he can. If someone's dodging that much in that situation, it means he probably he very likely has a follow up that means death for me. And dodging is really, really safe here at Setsuki. Why? Because, well, first of all, there's 3 7s in discard. So 7 is by far the best throw that DeGray can do, and it's not even that safe at this point. There's only 1 10 in discard. There's 2 7s left in Setsuki's deck. It's not even a really safe throw at this point. But it's especially not safe to throw with anything else, because I lose to, at this point, I'm going to get counter thrown if I do that. Even if I had an 8.8 speed attack, is Setsuki really, she could throw with a 9.2, but I don't have any safe options. 8.8 speed throw is very unsafe. It loses to both attack and throw generally, and so I have a king left too. That's not that scary at this point. 10 throw, but it's just very scary. It's a thing to try to throw, and I think that he's probably going to just continue to just do the super safe thing, which is dodge, and it's especially safe because there's 3 aces in discard, and so how can I kill? That's really the only way I can kill as DeGray, is to throw into 2 aces, and that's not possible. So I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking, wow, dodge is really safe. Yes, he's played 2 suboptimal dodges, but you cannot ever think that Setsuki's going to be completely out of dodges. He just has so many options. Although, there are a lot of dodges there in discard. I think what I do here is just ace dodge. And I think I'm getting to the point now where it's a mistake. I've dodged so much in this game that it's becoming a mistake. You have to be very aware of your tendencies, and I think I've dodged, or done something defensive at least 75% of combats. It's just I'm getting to the point where it's becoming exploitable, but I'm scared of queen. I'm scared in general, so I think I just dodge. Yep, so it turned out to be the right play, because I just cannot justify throwing. Maybe someone with bigger balls than me would throw in that spot, but I can't do it. And I think what ends up happening is I just keep dodging to my death, which is not good. It's not a good play. I think really another 5 dodge goes in the muck. I think this would be probably a good opportunity to queen. It's scary, but you kind of have to do it. I think I just dodge and die. Oh, no, I go for the queen. Or king. I don't like that, actually. I don't like the king there. Yeah, I think that the queen would have been so much better there. Because the reason because I say that is there are 3 queens left in his deck. So if he's going to attack, I made the right choice in terms of attacking there, but if he's going to attack, it's going to be with the queen, no question. Especially since I have only one king in discard at that point. So I don't like that play. Would I have won the game if I had queen there? What would I have done? 18 plus 7 is 25. and I would have had to no, I wouldn't have won the game, and he probably has another Joker, but I would have been in a much better spot. So I don't like my king. It's important to threaten king too. Less so when you have 11 life, but you know. So now I think I ace dodge. I think that's probably a mistake. I think I should have gone for a queen here. Let's see what I do. Because again, I'm playing very defensive. A king is a defensive move. Any very fast attack is basically a defensive move, in my mind. You're just saying get off me. Okay, I'm not going to do a ton of damage, but get off me so I can live. And I'm playing scared, so I think that ace dodge here, which is what I think I do, is a bad move. It's hard to, you know, it's easy for me to say that now in retrospect because I'm pretty sure that's how I die, and queen is so unsafe. But I think it just got to a point where I was just playing too defensive. Yep, and I die. And you know, well played by ouka. I especially like that he ended it with a king, just in case, you know, that was a joker. He's in a good position to either cross me up or do something that will win him the game. But you know, it was a fairly close game. If I had found the stones to queen there, I might have won. Let's go back and see if he had a joker, just out of curiosity. He did, but he would have been down to 4 health, which is slightly better than 18 health. So I think the lesson that people should take here is A, throwing as Setsuki against Tigray is really good. It gets lots of mileage. B, I was playing too defensive. I think that was my mistake. You know, I don't think I played too terribly here. I think that playing defensive is generally okay as Tigray. But it's the fact that I pressed it's the fact that I just pressed basically one button that was not safe the whole game, which was that 5 attack to start it. Okay, everything else, even the queen that I landed, was not that impressive because I had troublesome rhetoric on to kind of soften the blow. It's possible I wouldn't have died if I had gotten that if he had attacked. So, you know, I didn't do. You have to, as DeGray, or if you're playing against any character who outspeeds you as hard as Setsuki does, you have to play unsafe options if you're going to win. You just have to, and you have to show that you're willing to do that. And you know, I especially should have seen the throw coming, and I'm kind of just now seeing this. I especially should have seen the throw coming because it's likely that he has a joker, and so he's not going to die in that situation. So throw just, it's been working. It's super safe. Why not do it? So, you know, I think I played too scared that game, and I got punished for it. But anyway, I hope this has kind of helped you get in my head, in my opponent's head, you know, because I'm talking about not only what I think I should be doing, but what I think a good Setsuki player should be doing in this situation. So, you know, I don't know. Hopefully this is helpful for this particular matchup. The problem with Setsuki matches is that they generally don't last a long time, so there's not tons of This probably lasted longer than the typical Setsuki match, so you can't dig too deep. But at this point, I was feeling kind of down on how I played. You know, this is a quick match game. DeGray is a character that I'm trying to get to Grandmaster at this point, so I don't feel good about losing 34 points to a player who I thought was pretty good. You know, better than a player I should be losing 34 quick match points to. This is not really all that relevant. This is kind of just some color to this. So I decided to um, hit rematch because I was kind of, a little salty, and I wanted to kind of show this guy that I could beat him. So I hit rematch with Midori. I thought, the Setsuki player knows what he's doing, but he's also hasn't shown me that he's a great player. So I'm just gonna play my Midori. Haven't played Midori in a while, and hopefully maybe get closer to Grandmaster with my Midori. So that's what happens in part two of this series. Obviously, I've talked for way too long for me to go into this whole set. I said I played 7 games with this guy. Game 2 was another quick match game with, again, with Midori, and part of my decision making there was Midori kind of slightly beat Setsuki, so I wanted to see what I could do against a slightly favorable matchup there. And also, I'm just shameless in quick match. I'm totally shameless. I will play, I will play in the most advantaged situations that I can. That's why I do pretty well. Part of the reason I do pretty well in quick match. So, anyway, like I said, I hope this has been kind of informative. I haven't bored you to tears, but this will be an ongoing series. This is just part 1. I'm going to go into part 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, 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 all the way to the 7, and go through my... It's going to get more interesting. I'll say that. Because as I get more insight into how this guy plays, I'll start to tell you why I think he's very good, and why I start to suspect that he's a top player. Which, by the way, if he's not, this is all kind of embarrassing, and I'm basically just saying, wow, this guy's so good. Maybe he's not. It's possible. Sometimes you're on a hot streak and you just play all the right buttons, and you press all the right buttons and you win, even across a long set. So it's very possible this guy just is really new, and but I still think it's going to be interesting for me to explain why I think that this guy's play is pretty indistinguishable from top level play. Okay, so stay tuned for all that. Again, I do think it gets more interesting as we go on. So this is part 1. I will come back with parts 2 and 2 through 7 at a later point. All right, thanks for watching.